Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. I am here with the man himself, our CEO and founder of Quasar Markets, BigBeat, Stephen Orr, live from Davos at the World Economic Forum. How are we doing today, BigBeat?
Oh man, well thanks for what an invitation that was. That was a good opening there. Yes, I'm live here at the Wall Street Journal House in Davos, and it has been a great week here so far. I can tell you one thing's important. Money is flowing again. You see a lot of people that are very happy. And look, the big word this year, obviously, as last year, is AI. But this year, the two big words out of here now is generative AI and agentic AI or agent AI. AI is where we become the part of the people itself. Look, we knew at Quasar Markets we were a year ahead of everybody else here on AI. When they were talking about it, we were building it. So hey, that what an exciting time. The weather's been pretty good, not like last year. But listen, it's been a very busy time out here.
It's you left the U.S. and you put us into a cold freeze here. Even down by you, they're getting snow, Steve. So it figures that you're not there. Got to ask some questions. Been watching the coverage of Davos on all the major sites. Seems to be a general positive mood for most of the financial, titans. Everybody seems to be in a positive mood. And I got to ask from my side, hearing a lot of positive talk about cryptocurrency and especially Bitcoin by these folks. What are you seeing there? What's the difference
I have
this year from last year when it comes to that?
I think the same talk that we've seen and heard from just about everybody is that the election has really changed the mood here. Not, politically, a lot of people that aren't aligned with Trump, but the business side of people, they do like the new policies. They do like the new openness of crypto. And right now you're seeing that. You're seeing a lot of people going, hey, the policies in the United States are going to change. Maybe I should too. And the leadership that you and I have been looking for many years is actually here now. So I'm pretty excited about that. I will tell you that I had a personal. I saw Ray Dalio on stage, and I had the opportunity to ask him a question about Bitcoin itself. And he said clearly that he liked Bitcoin because it was a hedge against inflation, which we've seen around the world. And he likes gold. But what you're seeing from these CEOs is not, well, if the United States changes their tune on Bitcoin, if companies change their tune, you're not seeing that anymore. Now you're seeing, yeah, we're into crypto, we're into blockchain. You're hearing Web3. There was a big Web3 conference here. I was a delegate there as well. Look, that's the big talk here is AI and blockchain and crypto. It is not about the macroeconomics here. I can tell you Europe is hurting. I can tell you that the United States is leading, regardless of the president right now. I can tell you that I just got back from Tokyo, and I can tell you that technology is not catching up to the rest of the world there, but they're trying and they started it. So AI is becoming a big part of what they're doing as well. So you're also seeing that in Asia as well. I even put it on a post on Twitter about who's leading, China or United States, and it's tit for tat. Quite frankly, I think both countries are in a race right now. And what you see, and I've heard this a lot, was the open AI $100 billion up to $500 billion in infusion of money. That's huge. And I think I'm hearing a lot of talk about that all week long.
I'm sure, like you said in Japan, we saw SoftBank come out yesterday, big
Hmm.
part of this Stargate AI thing. So we see them, we see the world coming together. And what we see for the first time in a while is that they're doing this innovation or moving them onshore into the US. So I do think
Yes.
that's so important. I did notice that you put up a tweet yesterday that showed where semiconductors are actually made, the foundries.
That's right.
That was a little surprising for me to see how little of the actual chips we make here in the US.
Very little. Yeah.
And the two companies that do, I never heard of either of them.
Taiwan
Um,
Semi is probably the biggest. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
they're the biggest, but the two US was something quantum chips and another small like
yeah.
abbreviation name that I hadn't heard. It was an INTC who hasn't
Right.
built their factories yet.
Right.
I do have to ask also, the stocks has been pushing up really nicely while you've been there. Do
Mhm.
you hearing any positivity out of anything there? Central bankers don't seem to be able to get their act together in Europe.
No, they sure don't. And even you heard it from Mario Draghi, who just put a new paper out a couple days ago, and Christine Lagarde, who says, "Oh, we're not behind the curve." Um, they are totally. Whenever you say you're not behind the curve, you are behind the curve, right? And I've been saying she's been behind the curve for almost 2 years now. They're missing inflation on both sides of it, and they're missing it again on the downside here again. They do need to lower rates, as we know. The states, United States needs to lower rates as well. We need to keep that going. We're also seeing now that out of the previous administration, you also saw where some things like real estate was being hampered. You saw things like mergers and acquisitions being hampered. You're not seeing that now. I think you're seeing a big positive influence. Um, one thing I heard from Fareed Zakaria from CNN yesterday was that he was saying the positivity around the world is really turning to the United States and saying, hey, how are they leading? I want to be a part of that. And that's a good thing. That makes it's a good feeling, right? In a lot of ways. And so, if you're going to lead, you better lead correctly and not lead in a way that's blusterous and things like that. You need to lead, and you're seeing that. I think you're going to finally see where the United States not only takes a lead, but becomes the leader, meaning that as our chipsets change or as our software changes, that we'll be the leader in that. Now, one thing that I did here, and I've heard this a lot, that software has already surpassed hardware. So 2025 is going to be the hardware year. Think of it like in NVIDIA for sure, right? Think of the companies that make hardware like AMD for AI, so that in
Qualcomm.
the future you'll have a chipset, GPU chipset just for AI to take off the video. Then you'll have a video card chipset, and then you'll have an actual chipset for your laptop or your watch or whatever. So 3 to 4 chips now in that. Now, because of that, we need to manufacture more chips.
Yeah.
And if this is the case, then Texas could lead with this. Intel could step up to the plate and say, look, I get it. I got to be part of this, right? Qualcomm is stepping up to the plate. I was just in their office. And I'll tell you, companies, and I was just in their office the other day, C3, I just talked to their head of C3 AI. They have some really cool products coming out that hardware can't handle it right now. You
Yeah,
need
that's going to be the
blades.
big thing. Crypto started that sort of off, right, with ASICs
Yes.
and used specifically single use chips made just to do one thing, solve the
Correct.
algorithm that is Bitcoin. And that's and it was a big push forward for the industry. And we're seeing it moved into AI and into different
Yes.
areas. So what Steve's talking about is these chips are made in a particular way and programmed in a particular way that they can handle whatever it be, the immense amount of transactions or the breadth of transactions that happen at one time. They're designed for single use cases.
Let me blow your mind a little bit, Howard. I heard a little bit about decentralization of quantum computing, so that your phones, your iPads, your computers, your laptops will all be using the power that you're not using to protect, just to save on the power itself. We talked about this before. Microsoft buying a nuclear power plant. We're seeing that everywhere now, where companies are investing in nuclear power, clean energy, for the future, and I think that's going to change without having to change climate rule laws.
And I talked about that yesterday on the morning
Hmm.
show, is that what we are seeing too is don't just think of it as the chip companies, because they've got to build these data centers. So companies
Yes.
like ARM that build a lot of those switches and light switches and things that go on in those data
Yep.
centers, they're going to be someone that does it. Construction has to build these data centers. So there's a lot of different things we're going to look at Quasar Markets over the next month, 2 months, as this industry starts to develop, to try to lead people and let them know, it isn't only about NVIDIA, that it's going to raise all tides.
Right. And I think another thing you need to think about is how they get that money. You're seeing Masasan from Japan kicking $100 billion, but I think you're going to see this government give tax breaks. I think you're going to see this government give them land, and in places like Texas and Florida where we can use solar, um, and places that are already have existing maybe nuclear power plants that they're going to restart, like 3 Mile Island,
Yeah.
um, places that already have that kind of structure already in place. But that kind of tells me a lot, right? That AI is here; it's here to stay, and generative AI, predictive AI, but agent AI. I mean, they are really talking about where the machine knows about yourself and talks to another machine, That's just crazy, right?
Isn't that right out of the movies? Isn't that where it all goes bad when the machines start talking?
Well, I mean, I just watched the new movie on Netflix, the new Terminator movie. It's got Sarah O'Connor in it, and
Oh,
Terminator,
that's
and Schwarzenegger's on there, and of course it's an AI. I think the movies and general entertainment has to stop predicting this, projecting this bad image of AI. We're not there yet. I just had a chat with the CEO of SAP over at Axios, and he was saying the same thing. Look, um, we have a lot going on, but we're not quite there yet. I talked to the
right.
chief marketing officer of Coinbase, chief product officer of OpenAI, and they've all said the same thing. Look, the future is super bright, but we're not moving at the pace that they had been moving at, because they want to make sure they're doing it right. And that to me tells me everything that yes, AI expands. Yes, AI needs to be done correctly, and I think that it's in the hands of some good people. Companies like
Right.
Sustainable IT that's looking to make sure that we don't just burn up the energy. We look for sustainable ways to because AI is not going away. We got to learn to live with it. We got to learn to be a part of it. And that was what was interesting when the new CEO of OpenAI was saying that, hey, if you just play with it, just start, download ChatGPT, very basics, because you have other types of AI. I just saw the CEO of Amazon's AI, the Claude, Anthropic, was talking the same thing. He's like, listen, we're building a very cool database, and what separates them is they have a narrative AI, and in their narrative AI, they're saying, hey, we want to apply that to other AIs and make AI even better, right? So if you're asking ChatGPT a question, if you compare it with Anthropic, all of a sudden you've got a bigger narrative, better answer to that question. And what we're doing at Quasar, right? Using
Yep,
several AIs
absolutely.
to make it a better AI. So that's what you're going to see first. And then that step up will be to heavier agent AIs. A good example of that would be um, whatever airline you fly on. I fly on United quite a bit. It's going to know that, hey, I've got a trip coming up. It's going to look for my flights cheaper. It's going to book them for me. It's going to book a car for me, book a hotel for me. It knows what hotels I like. It knows what seat I like to sit in. It's going to do that for me
Yeah.
without even having to do anything. I think that in the general in itself is very cool because now you're freeing up your personal space and time. And I said this live yesterday on Worth Magazine. I said, here's the cool part about AI. I think it's the one thing that gets us to a 4-day work week. I think
Right.
it's the one thing that gives us more time with our families, more times with, doing other things that raise the level of us. You might want to learn a new language. You might want to learn to cook. Trust me, I can't do either one of them, but you know what? I might take some time because I'm working one less day because all of those mundane tasks that I have to do, now my agent AI does it for me. So that's the kind of cool stuff that we're seeing out here. And it is coming and it is happening. And I'll
Yeah,
tell you something else that
it's
that was saying.
that's a great one to bring up because we've all seen the Michael McGonaghy commercial with Salesforce where he's eating and it says, "My assistant didn't know that I don't like to eat this, and it didn't know to put me inside because it's raining." But that's very true. People look at that
Mhm.
and I don't think they grasp what is coming, and that is what's coming is that you will have in the back end of your phone, your laptop, a virtual assistant that does all these things and is just working 24/7 doing them for you, continuously
Yes.
rechecking and redoing it and updating data. And it, like you said, it would free up. I mean, I spend, as you know, you logged in, I was already here putting in my numbers for this morning's show. It will do that for me. I won't have to update it myself every day. All that stuff will get done by AI, hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, no, and the question was not asked, is it coming soon? It was like, yes, in 2025. Um,
Right.
and look, as investors, I'm looking at those kind of companies, right? Quantum AI, C3 AI, NVIDIA, obviously. But you got to look at the old stalwarts, Google and Amazon. They're going to be right in the midst of this. But I liken this whole time as the same time as the beginning of the 1900s of cars being built. AI right now has thousands of different companies and different things being built. And at that time, there was over 120 car companies, right? But eventually, they came down to about a good 4 or 5, and a few international at that time. That's what's going to happen here. The AI companies that are really pumping money into AI right now that may not look profitable because of it are going to be super profitable in the future. A good example of that would be Amazon losing $100 million a day back in the day. Today,
Right.
$100 million doesn't even, it happens in seconds now, right? That's what you're going to see. You're going to see a flip probably in the middle of this year where companies start to become profitable. You're already seeing now with OpenAI, where Sam is going to take the company public, or make it where it makes money now.
For
I don't blame
profit.
him
Yeah.
because it's for profit, because I don't blame him, right? But this is the level that we're seeing now.
Awesome. Steve, do you have any final sort of thoughts for us? I know you're still in your NVIDIA trade. You did that. I am still in my NVIDIA trade. Anything else we should be looking at in the markets today?
Yeah, I mean, I continue to get asked, what company do you like right now in the AI space? And it's looking from the software side, it's C3.
Okay.
I really do like C3 here. Um, the company has built something. I just saw the new version of it. They were just demonstrating for me where the machine in the back end, you can create the AIs for your AIs.
Oh, wow.
So think of it like business to business. Think of it like masterminding all of your AIs, taking all of your databases, put it in one space, and it begins to learn your own databases, learns how your machine works and your people work. So I think probably C3 is maybe one of the best companies out there to invest in. Not saying about what to buy or sell, we don't do that. But if you're looking at it from the perspective of software, I think C3 might be the winner here. And from
Awesome.
the hardware perspective, if NVIDIA can get those blades up and running with Blackwell, which they said this week that they were doing well with, and they're oversubscribed, people buying Blackwell chipsets, NVIDIA is going to make all-time new highs probably next month,
Wow.
if not sooner than that. And I think the other thing that you got to worry about is the geopolitical issues. If the tariffs stop, then I think we can all be happy, and I think we can go. And I think that Trump is walking back some of that tariff talk. He's already saying that already now, that maybe it won't be so high. Well, maybe we don't do it with these countries because we're going to have discussions. And he's talking about going to China. So if that happens, companies like NVIDIA and C3 will explode.
Awesome. Well, Steve, I know you have your meeting here at 8:30, so I want to get you out and let you take care of that. Thank you so much for joining us today. Maybe we can get you back tomorrow morning if you're doing something exciting, and we'll see you back in the States next week.
Yes, you will. I'll be back after I get an hour or two of sleep. I've been in
Yeah,
several countries
absolutely.
already, but
So
yes.
we will see you back next week again for our CEO and founder, BigBeat Stephen Orr, live from Davos at the World Economic Forum. I am Howard Greenberg. We will be back at 9 a.m. with our morning show, so make sure to tune in.